bug joining me. Here we go. I'm going to tell you about all these bugs that have escaped from the best laboratory. And it's a very serious situation, and we need your help to safely capture and contain them. And we certainly hope feed them, because I can only go so long without eating, for heaven's sakes. And even Lois. My wings. So, I'm going to introduce you to some of my other bug friends on the game field. These are flies. There's flies inside this shed. You can see that they've escaped to a construction area. It's really a mess in here. Very challenging. So we've got flies inside these doors. Oh, dear me. And when there's power, you'll see that those inside flies rotate inside the shed. So those flies are moving. These flies are attached to piano wires, so they are pretty tricky. We have termites all over the place. This is a termite. It's a whole lot like Tyvek's with a pound of kidney beans in it. So this game field piece weighs a lot. This is like a pound and a half of very floppy termites. There's some termites in these obstacles, and there's some termites.
Sit down.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If you're in the front, sit down.
If you're in the front, sit down, that's great. Thanks, Chuck. Good idea. There's more flies underneath the
They
shed.
had to do that.
On the left-hand side of the shed door are more flies. Who did that? Did I do that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. That's a really horrible sound. I won't try to do that again. Then, we got cockroaches. And these little buggers are hex bugs. They are more darn fun. These are hex nanos. I got mine at Target. So there's 12 of them running around inside the shed. So your job, your robot's job, and your job is to capture these bugs and put them into a containment area. So there's 3 containment areas in each piece of the game field. So the containment area is this box in the back on your side of the game field. They've got nothing inside of the containment area. So capture the bugs, put them in a containment area. You get bonus points for putting bugs, multipliers for putting bugs in the more difficult to get into containment areas. These instructions are hard to see with these insect numbers. So if your bugs are put in this middle containment area behind the pipes, you get a nice multiplier. If your bugs are behind this mess of 2x4s, sticking up all over the place, you get even more bonus points, multipliers. Now, like I said, we got hungry bugs. So, we've got food. There's a food tennis ball underneath every single soccer cone. And there's more food if we had power. When you push the little latch, everybody point out the latch, guys. So underneath the shed door is a latch that shoots out one piece of food from the feeding tube on the left-hand side of the game field. So when you push the latch under the red doors, it comes under here. The latch under the yellow doors, it comes under here, and so on. There's 4 pieces of food inside of each of these tubes. So there's plenty of food for all these bugs. So try to feed the bugs. Okay, now, naturally, and your rules will explain all this to you, you get different number of points for different kind of insects. So you get a certain number of points for every cockroach, a certain number of points for every fly, a certain number of points for every termite. My wings, I cannot do a thing with these wings. You get bonus points if you separate the bugs. They don't dislike each other, but because they're genetically modified, we don't want any kind of funny business going on with those bugs. So if we can separate the bugs, you get the bonus points. And if you can gather all three kinds of bugs, you get bonus points. And if you can feed all the bugs, you get bonus points. You got a 17-page document describing the scenario, describing the rules, describing the scoring. There's a sample score sheet. There's a couple of sample descriptions about how scoring works, just to clarify. All this is going to help you figure out your scoring strategy. That's a big part of it. Figuring out how you're going to build a successful robot. Figure out what are your best options for gathering points in these 3-minute matches you're going to have. Now, Rick has built this year's prototype robot, Eddie. And Eddie just opened the door. Now, the interesting thing about opening the door is if there happens to be a tie in any match, the order of who opens the doors is the tiebreaker. So one of the possible strategies that you'll like is getting your door open sooner rather than later, because that might help you if a tiebreaker situation is needed.
Now keep in mind you have 3 minutes.
Right. 3-minute matches.
3-minute matches. So, and this is a what I would call a pretty good robot. I want you all to take as many pictures of this as you possibly can and improve upon this robot. Because obviously the first thing you want to do is come in here and open up the door and you see you have to know what you're doing. To be able to get in here and open up that door and not waste a lot of time.
Can you drive it all the way around?
I can drive it around.
So Rick's going to drive the robot around, and he'll show you that he's got a hook. He used one of the angle brackets, or corner brackets. The angle corner brackets.
Now I may drive over and expose some food on purpose.
Right. One of the things that's different for those of you that are returning this year's game, there are some subtle and not so subtle differences. Last year we had very separated quadrants, and you only played in your own quadrant of the game field. This year you can play anywhere. So you obviously want to contain insects and food in your containment areas, but you can turn over cones and capture food from anywhere, from any feeding tube. You can capture any termites. You can capture any flies. And obviously, with all those crazy cockroaches are running around in there, there's no concept of whose cockroaches might be food. So you can capture any cockroaches, any flies, any termites, any food, and put them in your containment area. Now, the best tries to play nice. So you're obviously can't, and you'll read this in the rules, can't intentionally harm another robot. But you have free reign to go after any food and any ladybugs. Yes. You can't mess with those. Good question. Once they're in a containment area, they're safe and you can't go in there. As with every desk game, there's a driver who will be standing in his particular quadrant on the floor. It's taped off, and the judges and referees make sure that the driver doesn't come out of his containment area. There's also a spotter who sits pretty much
I think he's trying to get the ones inside the thing, the ones that are supposed to be moving if they have power.
Make good decisions about what to go after, have we got that insect safely secured or not. Those kinds of things.
For a second.
Yes.
What I'm doing in here is you can't see this, but the bottom of this platform is duct tape. It's duct tape. It's nothing special. And what I'm doing is I'm slapping down as the bugs come on in and hoping to pick up some bugs. And when I pick up the bugs, I can now move backwards. And I have some bugs in here. And the whole idea is to try to get those bugs back into a containment area. And also, I may have dropped one, so I can go on over and attempt to go after that bug. But this is just one example of what you can do to try to grab the bugs. You're going to find out that these flies are the highest points. The flies inside are the second highest points. The bugs are the third. And then you have the termites on the floor. Those are the fourth highest in points. And so you've got to decide, strategy-wise, you have to decide what you're going to go after to grab a hold of these flies and how much time you're going to spend. So there's a lot of strategy in this game this year, a lot of strategy. Also, the thing I will say to you is that take a good hard look at these containment areas because, as Carolyn said, each one of them gets increasingly more difficult as you try to go after them. But if you can get your bugs and your food into those containment areas, and these over here, you're gonna gain a lot more points than if you go after this one. Obviously, this one's the easiest containment area. And remember, you only have 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Question?
Can you show us how the flies come off?
The flies come off through Velcro strips.
Yeah.
It's just a Velcro
Yeah,
strip.
they're attached with a pretty tiny piece of Velcro and a piece of ribbon. You have to have a pretty substantial pull to get them on. They're just 2 pieces of styrofoam. They weigh very little. These insects are big, but very light.
When you come on in, you won't actually come into the game field to take photos and pictures, but pick up one of these because these are heavy. These are heavy, and your robot has to have enough power. I have a little clip here, and the whole idea is to grab one, but then you got to pick it up. And look at this. That thing weighs a ton. My robot can't pick up that 1.5 pound termite.
He can't even pick up a termite.
Well, it's a pretty good robot.
Well, I can tell that robot might need to go back to the drawing board.
That is so true.
Huh? See, I made it funny
there.
there.
Look at the flaws of this robot and improve upon this robot.